Hi fam. Today I'm going to talk about being an empath and how you can prevent yourself from becoming energetically drained and sucked dry, and also to know if you are an empath and the purpose of an empath on this planet. Before I get started with that, I would like to mention that I have created a new channel. It's called Miss Laura Victoria, and I will put a link to it in the description. And it is a channel devoted to health, fitness, strength training, acro yoga, and dance, those kinds of things. Those are things that I know a bit about, so I wanted to share that with you. If you are interested in that, please check it out. And yeah, that's it. It kind of ties in a little bit with this subject that I want to talk about today. So, what is an empath? An empath is an energy transformer. We give away energy, but we also take in the negative energy or the painful anxieties or the energy of others, and we transform it into something else. And this is a big reason why we get drained. And there are several kinds of empaths. There's two main categories though. The first category are empaths who feel other people's emotions and can basically merge with other people, and emotionally and psychically. Then there are empaths who actually feel physical pain and any kind of diseases in the body. These empaths can take on those diseases, and they're also referred to as healers, but they are empaths. That empathic ability allows them to take the disease out and transform it into something else. I have never met an empath like that, but I know that they exist, and there was actually a movie made about one of these empaths, a woman, and it was made in the early 80s. I forgot her name, but she actually took on the physical maladies of people and would contort and get into these weird sort of positions, and she would be in physical pain, but then she would transform that energy and it would leave her. She had that ability. But an emotional empath is more common, and that's what I've been, or I am, and I know several others who are emotional empaths. And you can have psychic ability. Most of them do, not all of them, but most of them do, just because you can feel the emotion anyway. So, now, an empath, the main complaint that an empath has is getting drained, getting energetically drained from other people. Wanting to connect with other people in a meaningful way, in a balanced way, in a fair way, in an equal way, but not being able to because they're giving away their energy all the time and they're taking on people's pain. Now, to a certain extent, having lived on this earth for several decades, I've learned that there's really not much you can do about that. This is part of the purpose of an empath's birth, is to give away their energy, and it's healing energy. It actually is healing energy. Sometimes the person that they are healing doesn't realize it, and a lot of times they don't realize it, but that is the purpose of the empath. Not the only purpose, but that is one of the purposes. And there's really not any way you can shut it off. It's not like a faucet. But you can recognize when you are getting overly drained, and when you are going to build up some resentment, and when to remove yourself from the situation and recharge your batteries, like all empaths need to do. And so some of the qualities of an empath usually are they're a loner, They like to be alone a lot. Other people drain them, obviously. Then they don't like to be in crowds. Parties drain them. Social situations drain them. And, you know, some of them develop skills to deal with this. I have developed skills. I can fake being social to a certain point. And it really depends on the people I'm with. If there are people that that talk too much, which seems to be quite a lot of people these days, then I'm gonna get drained a lot faster. But I have learned to like shut it off and shut off what they're saying and just be present in the situation and let my energy flow as needed. And I don't need to be kind. I don't need to be, overly polite. I just need to be present. And that's what I found that helps is a lot of empaths feel that they have to be kind all the time. They must be polite and diplomatic. And you don't really have to do that. The empathic energy is going to flow out of you no matter what, and you just let it flow. You can just not say anything. Or you don't even have to really look them in the eye. They automatically feel that kindness and empathic energy flowing out of you. So that's one way to protect yourself. Now, and an empath has to work through abuse and negativity from other people, especially abuse in this lifetime. And they have to learn how to set boundaries with people. And that's incredibly hard to do, because you are here to heal and help people who have a lot of pain. But then once they cross a certain line, you start resenting them, and that resentment builds up, and you just don't want to have anything to do with them anymore. But there are ways to stop that from happening, and to recognize when it's happening, and to stop that from happening. There's actually 3 ways that I've discovered that have helped me immensely. And the first way, believe it or not, is to build a very strong physical body. The stronger you get, the stronger your boundaries become. And you will recognize those boundaries. Not only that, being strong knows that you can fight back, that you can lash out if you need to, which sometimes an empath needs to do. And the muscles in the body, the muscular system is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is boundaries. And a lot of empaths, I don't do this, but a lot of empaths I notice will eat a lot to deal with stress. They will either eat or drink alcohol or smoke pot or something, which are all poisoning the body, especially if whatever you're eating is, if that has ingredients, this type of food they have now, that you could just go to the grocery store. It's very important to watch a diet and eat a clean, healthy diet with food that doesn't have a lot of ingredients or hardly any ingredients. Just fruits, vegetables, and clean meats, hopefully organic or, natural, as that no hormones or any of that. You need to have that kind of body, and then you need to strength train. And that means you don't need to train to look buff or, to be beautiful, but that can be a consequence of becoming stronger. But being strong and lifting heavy weights, and also doing isometrics or time under tension. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about on my other channel, and that's what I'm going to do. But the stronger you are, believe it or not, the sooner you will recognize when you're becoming too drained and that you need to shut it down, shut off your energy that you're giving away. And you'll also notice that you can go longer. You can be around people who need that healing energy, and that will flow out of you more readily, more easily, and you don't have any worry. You know that this is something that you are there to do, and you do it. And then when you've had enough, you've had enough. I don't know if any of you empaths out there have felt this, but whenever somebody gets too close to me in my physical space, when I'm at the grocery store or at a bookstore or, anywhere out in public, and someone gets too close to me, I move away because I feel them. And I just feel their energy, I guess you could say. And I would always move away because I felt it to be threatening. And doesn't mean that the person meant me any ill will. I just didn't like somebody getting in my space. And there was a certain amount of feet or area that they would enter that would cross the line for me, and I would move away. But as soon as I started strength training and I was getting a lot stronger and being able to lift, I increased my strength like fourfold. I wouldn't do that anymore. I didn't feel that threatening energy anymore. Even though they didn't mean to be threatening, I didn't feel like I had to move away. And I recognized a lot sooner when I was getting drained, and I was able to cut it off, whether, saying I had to go or moving away or whatever it was. So that for me, the physical body is, when we strengthen our physical body, it actually strengthens the astral body. We create that astral body. When we do Qigong or Kundalini yoga, we're actually creating that astral body. The astral world is like clay. You can mold it, and you have to keep repeating what you're doing over and over and over again to mold the astral world. And you do that because we are an emanation from the causal plane to the astral to the physical, and then we have to go backwards, back up. In the Kabbalah, we're from Kether to Yesod to Malkuth, and then we have to climb back up the tree. And you do that through physical strength. Now, if you're on like a left-hand path or a Klipothian path where you enter the abyss, that's another way to do it. I've noticed that when empaths, they have to learn to face absolute loneliness and pain, and to withdraw into themselves completely. And that's kind of what you do on the left-hand path. And you're working with very extremely negative energies. And you're going to take in some of that negative energy, and transform it. That's just what we do. But to face those things, to be alone for vast amounts of time, weeks or even months, is also a very good way to recognize who you are and where your boundary is and where somebody else begins, and where there's foreign energy coming in, because it's very difficult to understand what's your emotions and their emotions. And you do that better when you're alone a lot more, and when you face the dark side, I guess you could say. But that's a secondary way. The very first way is developing a strong body and a strong bones. And the bones are ruled by the sun. The sun is the foundation. And that Parashara says that's one of the first things he says. The sun is the foundation, and the sun is the soul in Vedic astrology. And the soul is the foundation for everything, and the sun is the foundation for everything in our solar system. So the sun and Saturn rules the muscles and the tendons. They work together, and the Saturn is the son of the sun. So they're a family unit, and they work together. So when you develop the strength of your body, of your physical body, you're molding the astral body as well, and you can enter the astral world without fear of being attacked by other entities, or influenced by certain spirits or energies there. And also in the physical world, you're much stronger as well. And also a very clean diet. You have to give the body what it needs. And it doesn't need all these extra ingredients that they put in food now. You need natural, wholesome food from the earth. And so, yeah, just try to stay as natural as possible and get as strong as possible. Now, if you have a problem, or some people can't lift weights, they've been injured or something like that, it doesn't matter. The Bruce Lee also injured himself, and all he did was isometrics, and he was ripped. Okay, the strong man called Alexander Koss or Doss, I can't remember if it's Koss or Doss, but you can look him up on the internet. All he did was isometrics, and he was a circus. His strength was world famous, and he actually broke out of jail. He bent the bars by pulling on the bars every day. He bent the bars and broke out of jail twice. So isometrics, which is basically the ancient way of working out, is time under tension, and it strengthens the tendons as well as the muscles. And the tendons are more important because they pull on the bones. And when they pull on the bones do not shrink, and that's what ages you. And also, it stimulates the bones to make more bone marrow. And bone marrow is where the blood is made, and it keeps the fresh blood flowing, and it is a wonderful anti-aging remedy. So that's why, I started this other channel. I'm going to get into that with strength training. So that is a wonderful way to strengthen your aura, strengthen your astral body, to be able to give away the healing energy, which is something really that you can't control. You can't shut it off. But to recognize when you've had enough and to be able to pull away. And also, you'll be able to give more. Okay? So, yeah, that's... I think another thing. There's something called dream yoga, and that's developed by the Tibetan monks. And basically what it is it's lucid dreaming, but it's beyond that. It's creating your own dreams. And another way to do that, there's several ways. There's a lot on lucid dreaming, but you actually, when you dream, you go into the higher worlds rather than just having these disconnected, funny dreams or nightmares, as the case may be. But one of the practices to be able to do this is to let yourself, or to realize that you're in a dream in waking life, that this is a dream. It's obviously a dream, or it's not true because it doesn't last. We're going to die, and we were born. So to recognize that waking life is a dream, just like when you're in a dream while you're asleep, it seems so real, and you go through happiness and sorrow. You can even feel pain, you fall off a building, whatever. But but you keep telling yourself, this is a dream, this is a dream. The clothes on my skin that I feel, that's a dream. The sense of touch is a dream. What I'm seeing is a dream. If you're able to put yourself in a trance, or you take entheogens, you absolutely see a whole different world. You see forests, spirits, and all kinds of things, and that is your perception. So you're not really seeing everything, or and what you're seeing is also a dream. So all you're experiencing is a dream. And then also in your emotional life, when you're having emotional attachments, or angry emotions, negative emotions, whatever it is, your mind is grasping or averting. It's trying to avoid certain things, or it's grasping at certain things. You have to realize that your emotions are also a projection of your mind, just like your dreams. You can turn it off if you sit and say, these emotions are a dream. The way I feel is fleeting, and I won't feel like this tomorrow or a week from now or whatever it is. So that's another way, and it makes you draw more into yourself, and which is I think a good thing. And you that also helps with realizing when you're giving too much of your energy, and it also helps you transform and transmute that energy you took on from someone else that you were healing. Anyway, so empaths, they experience, I know a lot of empaths out there. I know I have. When people would tell me, ever since I can remember, their whole life story after knowing me for maybe 5 minutes. Not everybody would do that, but a significant amount of people would do that. And so I would take in all of this stuff, and they would, start telling me their problems and everything. I would take it in, and there was a certain point where I would feel I've had enough. And I noticed that when I do these dream practices, we're in a waking dream, that I'm able to transmute that energy much, much faster. And I don't know where it goes. I don't know if it becomes a part of me. I think that's more. I think it becomes a part of me in a way. But it's transmuted. I don't feel tired. So yeah. That's it. I really wanted to talk about that. And with this eclipse, that was on my mind a lot. Okay, so knowing if you're an empath from the horoscope, I've seen a lot of things. And one of the main things I've seen is you have a lot of planets in the Moksha Houses. Moksha is the enlightenment houses, and those are the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. If you have a lot of identity factors, meaning you have your ascendant, you have your moon or your sun, you have your Atmakaraka or your ascendant lord, those are identity factors. If you have those planets, if you have more than 2 or more in those houses, usually you're an empath, or you have extreme empathic abilities. If you cannot, I've never seen an empath have Saturn with the sun or Saturn with the moon. For a woman, Saturn with the moon or Saturn aspecting the moon strongly. For a man, Saturn with the sun. Also a woman too, Saturn with the sun. Or Saturn aspecting the moon strongly, or the sun strongly. And the reason that is, Saturn cuts things off. Saturn separates us from things. The sun is the soul and the truth, basically. The sun represents the truth. When you have Saturn with the sun, you can't feel that truth all the time. So it gives some egotistic tendencies. These people can still have healing energies, but there's a lot of pain going on with that Saturn sun, and for a woman more so the Saturn moon. And just because Saturn separates and it shuts things down, and the moon is the emotion, the mind, and that kind of thing. So try to look for that. Also the Moksha Houses, the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house, identity factors in those houses. And also there's a lot of either Pisces, Scorpio, or Libra energies. But that's secondary. Not all people who are Pisces or Scorpios or Libras will have this, but those signs tend to be, and also Cancer to a lesser extent. They're water signs, so they tend to merge with the emotions of people. And Libra is the sign of diplomacy, of balancing out things. They have to be a diplomat with other people. They take into consideration other people's feelings and other people's, wants and desires. So if you have, those signs and they are in those houses, or those house cusps are in those signs, and then you have identity factors in those signs, the person is, there's a strong possibility the person is empathic. So, so I think I've covered that, and I think that's all today. Okay, thanks. Bye.